I've been looking forward to this. So yeah, last weekend I was able to see Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith in theaters. And I just want to talk about it because getting to see that on the big screen is truly an experience that I'll never forget. Me being born in 2007 means that obviously I was not able to see Revenge of the Sith when it initially came out. So it was recently re-released for the 20th anniversary and I jumped at the opportunity. So me and 3 of my friends sat down to watch it and it was so great. So before the movie even starts, there was this little preview, Hayden Christensen, a little video of Hayden Christensen comes out and just welcomes you to the screening. Obviously that's awesome.
Hello everyone, I'm Hayden Christensen. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this very special screening celebrating the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. I hope you all enjoy watching Anakin's journey to the dark side and watching Ewan and I battle it out on the big screen. So now let's get to the movie, because this is where the fun begins. Thank you, said it. And may the Force be with you.
Especially in recent years, the amount of love Hayden Christensen's been getting is just so well deserved because I truly believe his portrayal of Anakin is so underrated and overhated even. And I mean, a lot of that probably has to do with George Lucas's writing, which, let's be honest, is not the greatest, especially when it comes to dialogue. But I think when people complain about Hayden Christensen's performance, they don't really understand the character of Anakin. Because the character of Anakin Skywalker he's such a troubled soul, you know? He was a slave on Tatooine for 9 years, then he was brought into the Jedi Order, witnessed his mom die right in front of him, so it's of course he'd be a bit unstable and awkward, you know? Always being pulled toward the dark side. While we're talking about performances, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, of course, phenomenal. And back to Obi-Wan, just laying out all his feelings in front of Anakin on Mustafar, that is one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. This movie has a lot of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. Definitely I'd say my second favorite performance in this movie, because my favorite performance in this movie is of course the one and only Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine. He just commands every single scene he's in.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Are you going to kill me?
I would certainly like to.
I know you would. I can feel your anger. It gives you focus.
And just the way Palpatine manipulates Anakin in this movie is just... he's one of the greatest villains in cinema. He's a genius. Not to bring the Rise of Skywalker into this, but it does make sense that Palpatine would have a backup plan. It's if he ever died, he'd have clones and stuff like that. Obviously that makes sense. It's just the way it was executed in The Rise of Skywalker was horrible. To the point where the Bad Batch of all things had to try to explain it. But he's just so smart. The way he's able to manipulate the entire Jedi and the Senate to just play directly into his hand, it's so good. So let's just walk through the movie a little bit. That opening scene is incredible. The battle over Coruscant, one of the greatest openings to a film I've ever seen. And the fact that you're just thrust right into this, I mean, it's just a brilliant way to open the film. Not to mention John Williams' score, which I'll talk a bit more about that later. Then the fight with Count Dooku, which has another one of the best moments in Star Wars.
Do it.
Then, one of the only things that I don't really love about this movie is General Grievous. Now, General Grievous is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, but the way he's treated in Revenge of the Sith and the 3D Clone Wars show, he's more often than not portrayed as a joke, more or less. But Grievous from the 2D Clone Wars show, oh my god, more of that please. We saw a little bit of that darker side of Grievous in Tales of the Empire, which was probably one of the best parts about that show. When Grievous is allowed to be scary and brutal, he's awesome. We just don't see enough of that. He's also really stupid in the fight against Obi-Wan. Like, Obi-Wan is literally surrounded by droids. Like, why Obi-Wan even jumped down there in the first place is kind of stupid. Maybe he just knew that Grievous would be... Maybe he just knew Grievous was a dumbass. Why Grievous didn't just tell the droids to just shoot him, I have no idea. Because there's no way Obi-Wan would have been able to fight off that many droids single-handedly. Like, yeah, he sends the Magna Guards after him initially, and he takes care of them. But then after that... He has this whole army, it's just like, back away. It's just like, you know you're so outnumbered right now. Even during the fight, if he just told them to, like, then shoot him, like, that would have been better. I don't know, I still really like the fight, but it's like, Grievous, if you just, like, thought about this a little bit, this could have been a really easy win for you.
So uncivilized.
Now let's talk about Anakin and Padme a little bit. Because this is the best Anakin Padme movie as well. The love feels the most real in this movie. Like, Attack of the Clones, not so much. And, like, one of the best scenes in the movie that I don't see talked about as much is the scene right after Anakin tells Mace Windu that Palpatine's a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
So he's just standing in the Jedi Temple, staring across the city to where his and Padme's, like, house apartment thing is. And, like, the music is just incredible, and then, like, he starts to cry. Like, that's, like, one of my favorite scenes ever. While we're talking about Anakin and Padme, it's not as heavily featured in this movie, it's more heavily featured in Attack of the Clones, but I have to mention Across the Stars, which is one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever composed. Like, I want that song played at my wedding. And this night was awesome before the movie even started, because on my way to the movie theater, I live close to Pittsburgh, so the movie theater we went to, I had to go through the Fort Pitt Tunnel. If you know, you know. And of course, I was playing Star Wars music. I entered the tunnel. It was like the very end of Anakin versus Obi-Wan. And then when I came out of the tunnel, it was Across the Stars, and you just see the landscape of the city. It was honestly incredible. Since I'm talking about music, I'll just say it now. John Williams' score, it goes without saying. A masterpiece. Especially Revenge of the Sith. I mean, there's so many just iconic, beautiful tracks. Battle of the Heroes, Anakin vs. Obi-Wan, Anakin's Dark Deeds, Anakin's Betrayal, Palpatine's Teachings, Enter Lord Vader. And the one I was talking about earlier with Anakin and Padme staring across the city at each other is called Padme's Ruminations. It's so good. Everything I'm saying in this video is nothing new, like this has been talked about to death on the internet, but I love this movie, so I just want to talk about it. And like I said earlier, this movie's not perfect. The dialogue is definitely so cheesy and even bad at times, but that's part of the charm to it, honestly. Now let's talk about Mace Windu vs. Palpatine. It's not great.
It's treason, then.
Definitely the weakest fight in the movie. A lot of that mainly has to do with just Ian McDiarmid not being able to wield a lightsaber very well, so he's doing all these like CGI flips and stuff, and it just doesn't look that good. But the climax of this fight with the whole thing with the window and all that is awesome. And Mace Windu is definitely still alive. It's just a matter of time. Samuel L. Jackson wants to do it, so like, what are we waiting for? And I will admit that like a problem a lot of people have with this movie is that Anakin's turn is just like way too abrupt. And I do get that to a point, but I mean, it makes sense why he turns, obviously, for Padme and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just like, he cuts off Mace Windu's hand and then just immediately he's I pledge myself to your teachings. Like, it's a little abrupt, but it still makes sense. And obviously, once you let the dark in, it just completely engulfs you. And this movie, basically from Order 66 onward, is a masterpiece. Again, the score during the Order 66 scene is so sad and emotional, and just the way it's shot with like the camera panning down to the troopers' boots as they stop following Ki-Adi-Mundi, it's just like, oh my god. And oh my god, the March on the Jedi Temple, absolute cinema. Like, it's one of the greatest, again, greatest scenes ever. It's so awesome. if you're ever at a gym and they have like those Stairmaster machines, you know, play March on the Jedi Temple in your headphones while you're doing that, and you will feel like the most epic and coolest you've ever felt ever. Until the pain sets in, and then it's not so fun. But like for a little while there, it's awesome. And I just want to talk about how good like the CGI is in this movie. Like people always like to rag on the fact that like every scene is basically a blue screen background. But when they do that, it just makes like like especially when it comes to the Jedi Temple and stuff, it just makes it feel so large and expansive, which is like something that they didn't have in the Acolyte, where it's just like it felt so small and isolated where it shouldn't. And obviously it looks so much better in Revenge of the Sith than it did like in like Phantom Menace, where like yeah, it's definitely dated. But Revenge of the Sith, seeing it on the big screen, it still holds up perfectly. And then of course, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, Yoda versus Palpatine, everything that could be said about this sequence has been said already, so you know it's awesome, so I won't waste time on it. And yeah, it's like choreographed to the point of absurdity, to the point where it's like, why are these guys still fighting at this point? Like, but it's, you can't lie, it's entertaining as hell and looks so cool. The Yoda vs. Palpatine fight is fine, like, there's nothing egregiously bad about it, but it's not, like, incredible either. Another one of the best scenes in the movie, Yoda just walks into his office and just slams those guards against the wall. I laugh every single time at that, it's hilarious. Just Palpatine's like most elite troopers, and Yoda's just like, they're nothing. Also some just very memorable lines.
Surprised?
My little green friend.
Not if anything to say about it. I have at an end. Your rule is, and not short enough it was.
Me and my friend Hunter, we were basically just quoting this movie for basically the entire runtime. Say what you will about George Lucas's dialogue, but when it hits, it hits. And then the cutting back and forth between the birth of the twins, as well as the birth of Darth Vader, like just the screams and groans from Anakin constantly being cut back and forth between Padme and the babies like crying and stuff. And a detail that my friend Hunter pointed out that I had not noticed until this viewing, which is hard to believe, but if you listen closely in the Vader parts, you can hear Anakin's heartbeat in the background, and as the mask comes down over his face, it stops. And then when he starts breathing, it starts up again. It's such a cool detail. One thing I do hate about this movie is the no. It's just, it's so cringe and just so unnecessary. I don't like it at all. And I do think George Lucas did such a phenomenal job at tying this into the original trilogy so well. And yeah, the prequels got a lot of hate over the years, but there's been a resurgence of prequel fans over the years. While I don't really love Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones nearly as much as Revenge of the Sith, they have a lot of good moments, but like I don't return to those ones as often as I do Revenge of the Sith. Like I said at the beginning, Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, even though like objectively, like technically, Empire is probably the best movie, but Revenge of the Sith is just so damn entertaining from start to finish that I have to put it above Empire. Another thing that I don't really see talked about is the pacing of this movie is incredible. This is a 2-hour and 20-minute movie, and it doesn't feel like it at all. I mean, it breezes by. Like, that's what I mean. Just from start to finish, it's so entertaining and engaging that you do not feel the time pass at all. So yeah, I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about with Revenge of the Sith. Again, nothing groundbreaking here that hasn't been said before, but I just love this movie so much and I wanted to talk about it. I mean, getting to see it on the big screen, it just hits so much different, you know? And just movies like Revenge of the Sith, it's just, you don't see movies like this anymore. That's just a damn good time, you know? Just the scale achieved in this movie is just like, you just don't see it anymore. And like, I just wish we got more movies like this. So yeah, that's gonna do it for my rambling about Revenge of the Sith. I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know if anyone will even watch this video, but I wanted to make it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Damn, it looks so red on there. That looks so awesome. Holy shit.